Hey folks, Jessica here. So, I'm doing a reaction video to the new Flash Press characters. I don't usually do these because I don't like talking about a character before I've had a chance to play them. But Golden Knight is one of them, and I'm sure a bunch of people are super excited and wondering whether or not I should spark her. So I will give my thoughts on her real fast. If you aren't familiar, the Golden Knight is one of the 7 Luminary Knights. Other ones are like Black Knight, Apollonia. There's the Blue Knight, Walfrid, who is Lycia's dad. Golden Knight's real name, I believe, is Aliyah Ishtavian. They're all super important story characters. They're all like legendary heroes in the storylines, super powerful, etc., etc. I'm surprised she hasn't gotten a character till now because she's been in the story for quite a while, but she's finally getting one, and that's cool. Uh, Big question right up front is she any good? Looking at her kit at a glance, yeah, she looks really good actually. She feels like she's designed specifically for the 2020 Earth meta. We'll get to why that is in a second. I think though you need a specific other limited character to go with her in order to make the most of her. And unfortunately, I don't actually have that other character, but that character comes around next month. So when Halloween rolls around and I grab them, I'll do probably like I'll do a spotlight on Golden Knight and said character. It's Zeta Raga, Zeta and Race Raga, by the way. We'll talk about why that is in a second. But yeah, so I've got it. I'm probably gonna spark Golden Knight, and then I'm probably gonna have to spark another character next month. So that's a thing. But you know, whatever. I want to get a bit of a gripe out of the way first. I suspect I already know the answer to this, but what is with the timing on these two characters? So Diantha and Golden Knight are both Earth characters, and in particular, Golden Knight would have been a great character for Earth Unite fight, like Nightmare 150, very likely. She seems exactly designed for that specific meta, so it's a little awkward that she's coming out right after that Unite fight ends. And the answer as to why that happened, it's most likely because of the pandemic. Tons of stuff are getting delayed, and video game things getting delayed because of the pandemic is by far the least dire consequence of the pandemic. But I think that's what happened here. I suspect the plan was to release her for Earth Unite fight, and she just got pushed out a tiny bit. Unfortunately, that does make her and Diantha way less exciting to spark for because like their window where they would be super super useful has passed. I mean, if you're an Earth main, for sure exciting. If you just want the good characters, then yeah, you're gonna spark her, but that's awkward. uh I'm still gonna spark her because I'm excited about the character and she's gonna be good. Let's talk about her skills though. Okay, her skills. Her charge attack Starless Twilight Slash. This gives her a one-turn cut to her skill cooldowns. That obviously only matters if her skills are good, so let's talk about them. Great Horizon. Remove one buff, so this does have Dispel component in it, don't forget that. And extends buff durations by one turn, excludes one-turn buffs. Alright, she can extend buffs on herself. That's nice, but on its own, that doesn't seem that exciting. However, she's got this sort of Twilight skill here. Boost a charge attack damage and charge attack damage cap based on number of buffs. When Golden Knight has 15 or more buffs before attacking, charge attack activates twice. So if she can have 15 buffs on, she can double charge attack every time, in addition to having basic or other cap increases. That's interesting because normally 15 buffs or more, that might seem like a lot, but it is obtainable because if you've played a meta team, you've probably noticed that in a lot of situations, you're gonna have so many buffs on your character that like you can't even see the character portrait. So 15 or more is achievable. It's much more achievable though because she can extend her buff durations. Also, she's got this thing, Golden Armor, Revitalize effect. Buffs can't be removed. She can't get dispelled. There's not a ton of fights where that's going to be a major issue, but certain fights, that's going to be a big boon. Especially for Kaang. That whale's days are numbered because Golden Knight is going whale hunting. Just call her Ahab. Like, she's gonna murder that whale because that thing can't dispel her buffs. So All that's cool. What's her 2? Helio Drain. Uh, Drain 1 charge diamond from a foe, transfer to the caster's charge bar. So it's a delay, effectively, but it's also a charge bar gain. Very, very common effect. A lot of characters have this exact type of skill. So that on its own is not that exciting. Her 3, though, is the one we're going to talk about because it's got a lot of applications. Sword in Flux. Replicate caster or ally skill. Gain a buff based on the type of skill replicated. Character's super new, so I don't know what the second part, gain a buff on type of skill replicated, actually does yet. There's a few things potentially that could be good if it does do, but I think that's going to be icing on the cake. The main thing, she can copy a skill. You can copy her own skills also, so that's interesting. That's probably not what you're usually going to do, but it does give you some extra options, because it does mean she can double delay, and she can double dispel. That will be relevant on some fights for sure, but the main thing you're going to do is copy other characters' skills. So let's look at some characters you might copy, because there's one real obvious one which I hinted at, and there's potentially another one actually, because I actually need to grab her and play around and see. So let's jump over to the browser. Okay, if you're familiar with what was going on in Earth Unite fight at high difficulty, so like Nightmare 150, you're familiar with Zeta and Veseraga. When the high-ranking players started getting into Nightmare 150, they started shifting their teams. They stopped using characters like Pengi and Soras and started using Zeta and Veseraga with a frontline Caim. Now, if you're familiar with Caim, the Earth Evoker, you know that you generally don't run him frontline. That's usually a terrible idea. Let's look at Caim real fast, actually. So, Caim's got a bunch of stuff, but the main thing we're going to talk about here is he's got this Hanged Man reverse. When sub-ally, when all equipped weapons are different, gain a 20% boost to Earth allies attack, 50% boost to defense, 10% boost to damage cap. This is essentially another Highlander effect. So Caim lets you kind of double dip into Highlander builds, which is why a lot of people like Caim. And it's why Earth Highlander is better to run in like higher tiers of difficulty than other versions of Highlander. So like that's pretty big, because if you switch him to main, if you have him front row, you don't get any of that. So it's a pretty significant penalty to run front row. However, he's got a bunch of skills. I don't care. The skill I care about is beginning of Joker. Copy an ally's skill. So you copy Zeta and Veseraga with this skill. So like the meta teams were something like Zeta and Veseraga came, and then like I can't remember who people were usually running as the third character. It was either Holly and Maya or like Mahira Chicken for like the debuff immunity. But yeah, you ran Caim front row to copy them. I'm not going to talk about all their skills, because I will do a spotlight when Halloween rolls around, because now I have to spark them as well, because I'm probably going to spark Golden Knight. And I really want them to copy. Man, if this had come out like a month ago. But anyway. They've got a bunch of skills. We don't care about any of them. The one we care about is Magic Horizons. This is their one. 9 turn cooldown, 9 turn duration. It's got 100% uptime. What does it do? Attack boosted, triple attack rate boosted, deals bonus earth damage, defense sharply lowered. Can't be removed. Let's talk numbers. It's a 50% attack up. Pretty significant. It's an 80% echo. That's a large echo. Guaranteed triple attacks. You love to see it. We talked about this in my Stop Ticks video a lot, but 2020 is a year of guaranteed triple. If you have guaranteed triple in 2020, you're probably a meta character. Like, it's that big. 70% death down. It's also 2020. We don't care about death down, because we just kill the thing before that matters. Or we chain, like, invulnerability effects, and then it also doesn't matter. That's how 2020 is. That's just how it be. So Caim lets you copy this, and then you effectively have 2 characters that are attacking for a lot of damage, that are doing 80% echo, that are guaranteed to triple attack. And you just spit out crazy damage with a Luchador setup. Like, I just did a video about why Luchador is probably the strongest class in 2020, and this shit is why. So here's the thing. That's a legit strategy. But you're taking a significant hit for it, because running Caim front row does turn off his evoker effect, which his evoker sub-ally effect, which is kind of what a lot of people build their grids around. Now you can copy this skill with a character and not lose the Caim bonus, because now you can just run Zeta and Veseraga and then Golden Knight and still copy Magic Horizons and get 2 Zeta and Veseragas and whatever other Golden Knight stuff you do. And you don't have to worry about turning off your Caim bonus. That's big. Oh, before we move on, let's talk about the new Grand Weapon, because everyone wants to know the new Grand Weapon is going to be like a meta thing. So Golden Knight's weapon is big crits, medium charge attack, and charge attack damage cap. So I think this is like something you run as a one-off in a Caim grid. I think you do definitely want one of these in a Highlander grid if you're running Titan. Like that's gonna be legit. Actually, let's jump over to Kamigame real quick, because I want to see what they're doing. Because they're so fast. Yes, so yeah, they do add it to their Highlander setup. A thing to note, by the way, it's not to do with this weapon, but we should talk about it. So Caim typically means Highlander is going to be your best option for most players if you're running Titan. However, there is a point you can hit where you have enough Ichigo Hito Furies that you actually don't want to run the Caim setup anymore. Because when you get a certain critical mass of these things, 4 in this case, you will actually perform better running, just spamming Ichigo Hito Fury than you will with a Highlander grid. That's just the truth of it. This is such a massively powerful weapon that this setup is going to be like the most powerful potential thing you could run in Titan. So if you wanted to do this, you could potentially not even make Caim. That's an option, actually. I'm not joking. Like, if you want to go like the Turbo Whale route, you could just skip Caim and then run like Golden Knight, Zeta and Veseraga, and then like, I mean, I guess you could run Caim anyway, but you could also run like Holly Narmaya as the 3rd slot, or X character, whatever 3rd slot character you want. But yes, that is an option. So if you don't want to make Caim, keep that in mind. You just gotta get 4 Ichigos. Okay, briefly, let's talk Diantha. Actually, let's look at her weapon. I haven't looked at this. Big attack, medium healing cap. Okay, I'm probably not running this, so moving on. Let's look at her skills. I did take a glance here, and I will say ahead of time, I'm going to be real brief here, because a lot of her skills have effects that I don't have enough information on to give an opinion, which is why I hate doing reaction videos usually, so this one's a special case for you guys. Big thing to note, her charge attack doesn't do damage. I generally don't like it when a character's charge attack doesn't do damage, because it makes a lot of situations in the game really awkward to deal with if you can't deal damage with one of your character's charge attacks. However, it is a heal on charge attack, and that could potentially be pretty good depending on how much the heal is. It also is a clarity, or removes a debuff. It extends hype by 2 turns, so that's another thing to note. But yeah, there's a bunch of things that I don't know, so I can't really speak to right now. Big one is this number 1 skill, performance effect to caster. Shield effect, performance ends upon taking damage. I have no idea what performance does, and it doesn't say here, so it could be anything. It could say Diantha one-shot the boss on next attack. It probably doesn't say that. So until I know, I can't really give you an opinion here, but I'm sure someone will post that information soon, and you can decide for yourself. Her 2 is a standard multi-attack rate buff for the most part, plus hype buff. So it is boost to all allies multi-attack rate and hype. When her hype is 4, increase the boost effect to multi-attack rate and amplify normal attack damage. So it's kind of a fancied up version of a fairly standard support character buff skill where they buff multi-attack and attack in some way or other. Tons of characters have different versions of that skill, and this is just another version of it. This one just happens to play into the hype mechanic a bit. Multi-attack rate buffers, especially now that Golden Knight can just copy Zeta and Veseraga, and there's Holly Narmaya running around in Earth, like, still relevant if you don't have those characters, obviously. Like, probably fine if you don't have those characters. But if you do have those characters, you don't really care about multi-attack rate that much. So there's that. Let's see. 1 random buff to Earth allies. Additional buff based on caster's height. Maximum 5. And again, this is why I don't like doing these early reaction videos, because I don't know what buffs can be applied by this. Like, it could be anything. It could be like 100% Echo, an assassin. Probably not that, but, you know, if it is, then this would be legit. I will say, I generally don't like buffs that effects are random, because, like, that unpredictability makes them very awkward to use. However, 5 buffs on 1 skill is a lot of buffs. In fact, that's probably going to go a lot of ways towards enabling Golden Knight. Not that I would think you would run these 2 characters together, but, like, you know, that's a thing. Let's see. Ballet of the Blossoms. Bonus Earth damage effect to all allies based on their hype. So an Echo based on hype. This could potentially make her worth using depending on the number. Depending on how big that Echo is. Hype is generally hard to get up and keep up on all your characters to full stacks, so that's a thing, but potentially that Echo might give her some use. And then Never Ending Fantasy, boost to Earth main character's damage cap, takes effect even if Diantha is a sub-ally. Okay, I didn't read this before. Well, I really hope I pull a Diantha, because I don't want Sparker. This makes her an auto-include. I didn't read this before. When you get to the end, man, they keep on adding these characters. Okay, so let's break down why I'm having that reaction. It is a boost, just a general boost to main character's damage cap. Flat out boosted damage cap. Unless it's like 1%, and even if it's 1%, you're gonna want to have her. Because it works if she's a sub-ally. So she's another one of those characters where you just want her. Because it's just a flat buff all the time. And it's not like a meaningless flat buff. It's not a small flat buff. It's a damage cap buff. And it's not like a typed damage cap. It's not like only auto attacks or only charge attack caps up. Reading this, it's just a straight up damage cap buff to main allies. Okay, so I'm probably doing a Spark video later, is what I'm saying, because man. Alright, wrapping this up. Yes, I'm sparking for Golden Knight, and yes, I really want to pull Diantha along the way. And I don't know how I feel about this, because this is all stuff that would have been really useful for Earth Unite fight, and I also don't know how I feel about this, because that kind of makes your ideal back row pretty static. If you're running Highlander, which a lot of Earth players are, your back row is Diantha and Caim. Like, can't really change that unless you're front rowing Caim, which you don't have to anymore because of Golden Knight. So, like, this really locks your back row that this is a thing. And again, I'm gonna say it again. This is a big deal because it's always in effect while she's in the back row. If you're a player that doesn't have her, then your main character is just going to be doing that much less damage than someone that does have her all the time because she's in the back row. So it's going to matter what the numbers are. And, you know, actually, one potential thing that might make her not an auto-include is if this cap-up doesn't stack with Caim's cap-up. That's a thing to talk about. But I don't know yet. We will find out soon. But if they do stack, so that's the thing to talk about actually before you jump out and get her. We need to figure that out. But if it does stack, and I'm inclined to believe it does, but if it does stack, then yeah, she's a pretty big deal for only that reason. Like all this rest stuff, don't care. It's that thing. So yes, these two characters are potentially pretty important for Earth. A month too late. So hopefully you enjoyed this one. I don't usually do these reaction videos. Let me know what you think down below. I'll catch you in the next one. And yes, a Spark video will be coming probably at some point. See ya.